Hi, this closed reading presentation is for children's literature. I am Melissa Elrod, and I will be talking about the 1992 book, The Rainbow Fish by Marcus Pfister. If you are not already familiar with this book, it is about the most beautiful fish in the ocean. He has blue and purple and pink scales. He's rainbow colors on his scales. He has glitter. In the book, it shows a lot of iridescent material over a lot of his fins, or not fins, sorry, scales. And so he's the only fish in the ocean like this, and all of the ordinary fish are jealous of him and they want his scales, but he refuses. He's very proud of himself. He's a silent type and he just kind of goes about his way. Well, when everybody in the book, all the other fish, start to ignore him and not invite him to join in them with games and things like that, he seeks counsel, wanting to know why the fish are mad at him. And he is then given the advice that he should share his rainbow scales with them. So he goes back and he rips his scales off and gives them to the other fish. And then he's left with just a few, but everybody else now has one. So I think that the proposed idea and symbol of the book is kind of like sharing is caring, and we need to be friendly with others so that they'll be friends with us, and trying to make everybody feel special. I believe, however, that there's a much deeper meaning to the book. I believe that it's really on conformity and having your peers push you into certain ideologies and how to think and how to dress and things like that. And that if you don't conform to what society wants you to be, then you will be ostracized. So, I think that that's a lot of what this book is about, and I'll give a couple of examples. First, I just want to start with page 5 and 6. This is where it describes him as the most beautiful fish in the entire ocean, and all of the colors on him. So then on page 7 and 8, it talks about when he first is passing through the colony of fishes, and they kind of want him to come and play with them, and they want him to be their friend, and he isn't a super social fish. It says he's proud and silent, and he continues on swimming. It doesn't mention that he's rude to them. It doesn't say that he said anything mean or even was really ignoring them. It just says that he's kind of the quiet type and he goes about what he does. He's very proud in who he is. So after this, he is asked to please give his rainbow scales to some of the other fish, and he outright refuses. I wouldn't want to rip off my scales either. I think that the example that they gave of what's special about him is physically his body, is kind of unfair for people to want a piece of that. It would be like if someone came up to you and they're like, hey, I like your abs. Let me rip them out from your stomach. Awful. So he says no, and so then all the fish stop talking to him and they won't invite him to play, which I want to make a point that he wasn't actually at first wanting to be a part of what was going on with the fish. He seemed to be kind of happy not being super ingrained in what everyone else was doing, and that's going to be important later in the story. So once the fish are mad at him and they won't talk to him or play with him, he goes to seek counsel from some other creatures, and they tell him. So this is going to be on page 17 and 18. They tell him that he needs to give up his scales to the mob, if he wants them to be their friends. He's told specifically on page 18 that he will no longer be the most beautiful fish in the sea or in the ocean, but he will discover how to be happy. Now, I think it's important to point out he was already happy before this. When they're talking about he's proud and, he just kind of goes about his life. He's smiling. So he was already happy. So I think that there's a little bit of pressure going on with the fish, with other people telling him, well, you need to do what the community says, and their opinion is more important than your personal happiness and body image. So he's kind of being changed to think that even though he was already happy, he wasn't, because he didn't fit in with everybody else. So after this, he goes and he starts sharing his scales. He rips them out from his body and starts sharing them. And in the end, he's only left with a couple. There's only like a few on him, but everybody else has one. And it says on page 25 and 26 that excuse me, he feels at home among the other fish. Now, we had already talked about it in the first part where he's just swimming by them. He didn't seem to really care that much about fitting in. He just seemed to be kind of happy with who he was. It never brought it up that he was unhappy not being close knit with all the other fish. And so now for it to be so important to him to feel at home with them seems kind of like some brainwashing went on. And it also doesn't say he's happy. It just says that he feels at home among the other fish. Now, the next page, 27 and 28, it does say that he's happy now. Again, it never said he wasn't happy before. But it says he's happy and he swims off to join his friends in playing. Playing the exact same thing he wasn't interested in before he lost all of his scales. So, let me just move this over. Thank you. I think that a lot of what this book is implying is that if there's something special about you, if there's something unique to you, you kind of need to water yourself down to fit in with everybody else. Like if you're really good at track, maybe you shouldn't, beat all your friends in track, even though you could, just because you still want to be friends, which I think is a very toxic and unhealthy idea to teach kids. Is if there's something special about you, you better fix that now and not look like you're better than anybody else. It's just a lot of brainwashing and just trying to water down people for who they are so everybody can feel like they're a winner. When that's not true, some people, like the rainbow fish, was born special. And as a community, we should celebrate people who are special and not try to make them less special so we feel more so. So that's why I think that this book, the really deep meaning that I think kids will get from it, isn't the sharing is caring, but that you have to sacrifice good parts of yourself in order to make others happy. And that being special isn't okay unless everyone else is special too. So that's my presentation. I hope you liked it. I would love to hear all of your all's comments about it, and if you've ever read the book, if you got a different feel from it. But that is how I feel about it. All right, thanks. It's been a great semester, so I hope everybody has been having a good time.